cross my heart, hope to die, give me a Bible, and and like whole time, how dare you? I just swore on my kids. How dare you think I did something? I ain't steal your wallet. I'm helping you look for it. Y'all all laughing because you relate that one. And but the Lord, I was just talking to somebody yesterday, but they called me about their child. They were going through something with their child, and again, it came back to the consistency and discipline, right? The being consistent, like what I say. Like it started with me with I got a mean 3 count. Anybody got a 3 count with their kids? But the reason I got a mean 3 count, and the reason we're good at number 2 is because I always follow through on 3. Once I started walking with the Lord, and once I started operating in His principles, and my yes being yes and my no being no, then we had consistency and commitment, and that produces results, right? Commitment, consistency, and discipline produces results. Whether it be in the gym, or whether it be in your recovery, or whether it be with your walk with Christ, you got to be committed, you got to be consistent, and you got to be disciplined. What does that mean? You got to fully commit. You got to do it all the time, and then you got to have a way that you do things, so that you can build upon it. So anyhow, all right. So we got just a few minutes. Let's talk about something. Amen. Because I don't know about y'all. Last night, when was Brandy, right? When Brandy was speaking, I felt as if the Lord was like penetrating my heart with these words. What are you doing here? It's like I'm sitting back there, and I'm like looking around like I'm fully exposed, right? Like when you're talking to me, like what am I doing here? I'm watching y'all doing worship, But the words, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Give me a little instrumental so we can meditate on this. I already asked y'all to do it, and y'all ain't do it, but anyway. I just really want us to be a little reflective today, okay? Because this morning in my alone time, I went down this deep dive into not just Elijah, but Adam and Eve. God asked a question. Cain, God asked a question. Hagar, God asked a question. And then Elisha. And finally, Jesus asked Peter a question. But let's go all the way back to Genesis 3 just to look at what was going on. Before the fall, it says that Adam and Eve was naked and felt no shame, right? Bring that down. And he was naked and felt no shame. And this was a state of perfect relational transparency. Relationships are in perfect harmony when there's fully trust and there's full transparency and honesty. And when Adam and Eve sinned, and through disobedience and sin, it broke that relational transparency. It broke that nakedness and no shame, and it caused them to immediately go into fear, guilt, and hiding, right? And as God, so they were in this perfect relationship with God, and then all of a sudden they disobeyed God, and they fell into this fear, guilt, shame, and they went into hiding. Has anybody been into hiding? Anybody? Their sin has caused them to go into hiding. Their sin has caused you to all of a sudden become a recluse. Like who you truly are has to go behind a mask. Who you truly are has to go behind a shadow. Even what about with your wife? When you start sinning against your wife, when you start lying to your wife, when you start doing things that your wife don't know that you're doing, or your girlfriend don't go in that you're doing, all of a sudden you've got to start being somebody else to her, and who you truly are is on the inside, hiding from everybody. Anybody been there? Because when we sin, it causes us to go into hiding, which leads us to going into denial, and God comes down. Do you know God's all-knowing, right? Like he knows everything. Even we try to hide from God, right? We want to hide from God, right? We suppress the truth and actually believe that we're hiding from God when we're out there in our addiction and in our sin. God comes down after the disobedience, after the sin, and he asks this one profound question. You know what he asks? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you, Adam? Where are you, Lawson? Where are you at? Like, where are you? He already knows, right? He's giving Adam an invitation to confess. Because the Bible teaches confession brings what? Healing. The problem is we've been hiding for so long. We've put up this front for so long that we don't know how to confess where we really are. Like, where are you? We come into rehab and we put on a front, don't we? I've seen many a man come into rehab and I'm like, what you doing here? You got it all together. Huh? Y'all met anybody like that in rehab? Like what? Yeah, do this. Do this. Do this right here. Yeah, I met that guy in the mirror. In the mirror. Because so many times you get confronted with where are you at and you respond in denial, right? I'm good. I'm good. You worry about yourself. Anybody done that one? I'm good. You worry about yourself. God asked Adam where he is. God asked Adam why he did what he did. And what did Adam do? He deflected and blame shifted. Instead of dealing with us, instead of cleaning our side of the street, we want to do what? Clean everybody else's, right? Because if everybody else's side of the street was clean, then we'd be fine, right? Huh? We'd be okay if everybody else would do what we wanted them to do, right? If everybody else was doing their part, and like I see it all the time when I come. Every time somebody comes in and we start talking about, you know, their crimes and their mandations and all these things, all anybody ever got to say is how terrible probation is, how innocent they are, how they're probably going to beat the charges, how the public pretender ain't no good, huh? What do we need to keep going? How the DA's out to get him. The judge ain't fair, huh? They set me up. I ain't do it. I'm just telling you, honestly, nobody ever sits down in front of me and says, man, I am just a mess. Like, I can't stop committing crimes. I can't quit screwing up. I'm a big mess. I done hurt everybody. I'm hurting myself. I'm breaking the law, and I'm probably going to jail because every bit of it they got me charged with, I did. Has that been the story of anybody that came and sat with me? Huh? Has that been the story of anybody? No, why? Because of the fall, because of our sinful nature. We're just like Adam and we're just like Eve, and we're trying to do nothing but hide the truth about ourselves. And God is asking you, where are you at? Where are you? Where are you really? Can you answer that question honestly? Where are you really? So many people leave rehab acting like they got it all together and they're high in 3 days. Why? Because they would not admit where they really were. You wouldn't get honest about yourself. You wouldn't get honest about yourself. And instead, all you do is deflect, deny, and shift the blame. Has anybody ever had the mindset that if everybody else would just act right, I'll be okay? Huh? Everybody else would just act right, I'll be okay. I'm not the problem. She the problem. Huh? I ain't the problem. My parents are the problem. I ain't the problem. The court system the problem. I ain't the problem. Probation the problem. And God continues to ask you, where are you at? What about you? We don't want to talk about you, do we? Huh? We don't want to talk about you. We want to fix everybody else. Anybody here got somebody they want to fix? Huh? Anybody here got somebody they want to fix? Yeah. What about you? Where are you at? I'm good. You in rehab? Yeah, I'm good. I just did it for medicinal purposes. You know, whatever. And like this question. And then Adam says, it ain't my fault, it's her fault, right? And it ain't just her fault, it's your fault, God, because you gave her to me. Anybody ever blame God for the problems they're having? Anybody ever blame somebody else for the mess that they're in? That wasn't mine. He threw it in my lap. What about you? Where are you at? Like right now, if God decided right now to supernaturally project your heart onto these screens and showed everybody where you truly were internally, what would they see? Because until you get what would be projected on them screens out of your mouth in confession to somebody and to God, you're never going to find healing. You're not going to find healing because you're in hiding. You've gotten into the routine of the program. You're doing everything that's asked of you, and nobody's on your back. There ain't no bullseye on you. You're not on any radar or anything else. You're just going through the motions. You're going through the routine, and you're rotting inside. Because you're in hiding, and you don't want to expose yourself, and you don't want nobody to know who you really are. You don't want nobody to know what you've really done. You want to keep this composure that I'm good and everybody else is the issue. That's just like going to court, right? You don't want to give away your cards, right? You don't want to give away your cards just in case you can get a win, right? Huh? Just in case you can get somebody on your side that it ain't your fault. You can get somebody on your side that you can blame somebody else, right? And you just want to keep everybody off of you. The only time you ever get honest with yourself is mostly when you get backed in a corner, right? And get exposed. And God is calling on you, said, just expose yourself so that I may heal you. The reason our relationship is broken is because you are in hiding, and you're shifting, and you're in denial, and you won't get honest, and you won't get transparent, and you won't allow me to heal you. You won't allow me to heal you because nobody knows where you're really at. You ain't going to tell me where you're really at. You think you fear you're going to get kicked out or something, you get a consequence or something's going to happen. You got all these reasons why you won't expose, right? Where you're really at. That's why Anna and them, they work the 12 steps, right? They get to a step 4 and a step 5 where they either can lie or get honest about where they're really at, right? And they make you look at every situation you've been through and find out where you're at fault in it. Am I right? And just a little tip that Anna's starting in discussion on trying to start some 12-step here. Some 12-step here. So you'll come out of hiding. Quit hiding. And then you got Elijah. It's a different little story with Elijah. Elijah was coming off a victory. Y'all know that? Elijah was coming off a victory. He just about at Mount Carmel, 500 prophets of Baal. He done went against them. He done set up an altar. He done tested their God. He done called out their God. Their God couldn't do nothing. And all of a sudden he calls down fire from heaven, and it comes down, and boom, he shows up Baal. And he was expecting a parade. He was expecting a revival. He was expecting everybody to come back to God. And what did he get? He got a death sentence from Queen Jezebel. Anybody ever dealt with a Jezebel? Huh? You married one? Everybody's like, yeah, everybody's like, but I love it, Jerry. But, like, everybody's like, ain't nobody breaking up with nobody. Because I love her. But anyway. It says Adam was hiding from guilt that he did something wrong. Elijah was hiding from a despair. He had a failure despite doing everything right. Anybody been in that situation here? Where you felt like you're doing everything right. You felt like you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You're crossing your T's, you're dotting your I's, and like all of a sudden everything that you would put your hope and expectation in don't come to pass. It don't come to pass, right? And so what do? Throw in the towel. Anybody thrown in the towel before? Huh? James about to come out of his jacket. Like, hey, you throw in the towel. You throw in the towel, right? Because you're like, man, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Why is this happening to me? It says it's like the crash after the pink cloud, right? It's like everything was going perfect. I've gotten sober. I'm doing everything right. Everything's looking good. And then all of a sudden, something comes out of nowhere and doesn't go my way. Anybody ever get upset when something don't go your way? None of us, right? And like when something don't go our way, we get upset, right? And we want to run, don't we? We want to run. We're just going to run. Who's a runner? Elijah was a runner. Elijah just had one of the greatest victories in all of the Old Testament. And then he got a death sentence. A woman said she wanted to kill him. And he got in his feelings. And he started telling God, like, I'm the only one out here serving you, God. I'm the only one here trying to do everything right. Let me frame it at NBIC. You don't know what everybody else is doing over at that ark. Huh? And I'm sitting here trying to do everything right. But they getting everything they want, and ain't nothing going my way. So I'm done. I'm done. Either you're done and I'm gone, or either we pull the, I'm just going to do my time. Anybody done that one? You ain't going to admit that one. I'm just going to do my time. I'm going to get up out of here, man. This thing ain't going my way. I tried this thing, man, and it like, man, they a bunch of this and they a bunch of that and blah, 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 blah. But God, in his despair, after a great victory and him being in despair because things didn't go the way that he had planned them to go, God, it said, I read this, this 3-part restoration process that God used. First, he physically took care of him. It's called the HALT principle. We must address being hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, right? Those 4 things, they mess us up, right, when we're in recovery. When we're in recovery, they mess us up when we're hungry. That's why we feed you good. When you're angry, anybody made a bad decision when they're angry? A dumb decision when they're angry? Huh? What about when you get lonely? Huh? You make a dumb decision when you get lonely? Or when you're tired? Huh? And then God shows him. He said, he runs up in a cave, right? He goes up in a cave, and all of a sudden God sends a wind, right? He sends an earthquake, and he sends a fire. And he says that God's not found in any of that. But he's found where? In the still, small voice. The quiet, gentle wind. The still, small voice. He says recovery is learning to find God in the stillness of sobriety, not in the drama and the chaos. It ain't about walking in sobriety ain't about doing it on the mountaintop. It ain't about doing it when everything's going your way. It ain't about doing it when everything has met your expectations. It's doing it and finding God in the rhythm of every day. Like, I don't even think sometimes, like, we call it, we feel like we're getting stuck. Because we're not used to being still, right? We're not used to everything being quiet. We're used to what? A bunch of chaos. A bunch of craziness. Well, always something going on. Always something to have to get out of. Always having something to get into. We can't just pause and be like, this is beautiful. Huh? I ain't having to get into nothing. I ain't having to get out of nothing. I can just stay in this still, quiet, beautiful rhythm of sobriety with God. Waiting on him, right? We talked about that yesterday, right? Just waiting on God. Quit trying to always find God. That's why people, you ever seen miracle chasers and all these seekers, and they running around to other states and everything else, just looking to find that high, looking to find Jesus in this movement, or Jesus in this revival, or Jesus in this rock concert, or whatever it may be, and like they're chasing, and God said, I'm not in all that. I'm right here in the moment, in the stillness of the day. In the regular part of your day, all day long, this is where I want to be with you. This is where life happens, right? Because if we're chasing highs, when you get a high, you got to have a what? A come down, right? When you get a high, you got to have a come down. And God said, I want to meet you in that still, small voice of every single day. And then what's really cool, instead of God listening to his complaint, because he was complaining, right? Anybody here complain? So he's like, I did all this for you, God. There ain't nobody else out there doing this but me. I'm all by myself. I tried to do everything right, and everything fell apart, and I don't know, what's going on, and blah, blah, blasey, 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 right? And God said, you know what God told him? He said, go help somebody. That's what he told him. The next verses, he tells him to go anoint Hazel, go anoint Jehu, and go anoint Elisha. That's how we get out of ourselves, right? God said, you're complaining, you're upset, things aren't going your way. Go help somebody else. Go pour in, go give somebody else what you have. Go show somebody else where you've been and what God's doing in your life. Go pass the torch on to somebody else. Go pour out your cup to somebody else, right? Quit being a hindrance to the kingdom and be a help. What are you doing here? Is what he asked Elijah, right? What are you doing here? Like, what are you doing here? If God could project your heart onto the screen and it could show everybody what you are doing here, what would it say? What are you doing here? Are you sitting in self-pity? Are you sitting in denial? Are you all upset because your expectations haven't been met? Are you all upset because things aren't going the way that you had planned them to be? Or are you sitting here with an attitude of gratitude that you're sitting here sober, That your wave, you may not be where you want to be, but guess where you're not? Where you were. Can we return back to the desperation we had when we entered the program? That desperation where we entered the program and where nothing else mattered. I came in this program. I don't care what you got to do. Just get me in. I'll sleep on the floor. Is that anybody here? Huh? I'll sleep on the floor and you ain't ever got to give me a dime. I'll be the best behaved person in the program, right? Is anybody can admit that they've lost some of that? And you find yourself upset, complaining, disgruntled, and God's looking at you and saying, "Well, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this?" Can we look back just long enough to remember where we came from? Is everybody in here, for the most part, can be satisfied with where they honestly are at today if they look back where they came from and not look at where they want to go? If we looked back instead of looked forward, could we be more grateful for where we are? Does that make sense? If we can start looking back instead of looking forward. Because you're just like the Israelites in the wilderness, right? You're going around complaining and murmuring and everything else after God's done delivered you out of Egypt and bondage and slavery that you could not get out of yourself. Red Sea had to part for you to get out of it. And then you get out of it and it ain't good enough. It ain't enough. How much more do you need? Just a little bit more? Just a little bit more. Give me a little bit more. I'll be happy then. And then you get a little bit more, and guess what? Guess how much more you need? Just a little bit more. Is it always a little bit more? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I want to keep going, but I can't. What are you? Nope, we can't. We got to cut. Huh? I'll give you one more just to leave you with. Hagar in Genesis 16. If you don't know who Hagar is, Abraham and Sarah were given a promise to have a child that was going to become a great nation, right? The promised child. His name was Isaac. Guess what? Hey, this is profound. We could talk about this 15 minutes, but I'm only going to have 5. Abraham and Sarah got tired of waiting for the promise of God to be fulfilled in their life. They got tired of waiting. Anybody there? And so what did they do? They decided to help God with the plan. So Sarah and Abraham Sarah came up with this great idea. Abraham, just sleep with her. Sleep with the servant. And let's help God out. And then he sleeps with the servant. Abraham's like, run it. Hey, he sleeps with the servant. He has Ishmael. They have Ishmael. And then Sarah's like, what in the world you do? Sound like a, and huh? There's some modern day translation of all that. Hey, and then Sarah's like, what did you do? And then Abraham's like, I did what you told me to do. If you ain't happy, do something about it. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to kick Hagar and Ishmael out. Because, see, the promise of God in Abraham's life took 25 years to come to fruition. They decided to help God, and they got in the middle of it. And then they created a problem. A major problem. Ishmael is the descendant of Islam. They created a great problem. But Hagar got rejected, right? Hagar got cast out. She was a castaway, cast out, sent off. Go, get out of here. Don't come back. Is anybody get out of here? Don't come back. Good riddance. Don't care if I see you again. Huh? And out on the road out, God stops her and asks her this question right here. Where have you come from? And where are you going? Where have you come from? Reflect for just a minute. Where have you come from? And where are you going? Are you heading back to where you came from? Are you heading back? Or are you moving forward into a new life? Are you creating and allowing God to create a new life for you? Or are you just heading back right back to where you came from? God's asking, where did you come from? Do you remember? Do you remember where you came from? And where are you going? Do you even know? Do you even know? Because you're either going in one or two directions. You either headed back to where you came from, or you stepping into a new life. Father, I just thank you this morning, Lord, for your, God, Lord, I just thank you for last night, God. I thank you for that prophetic word that was spoken over all of us. It just penetrated my heart last night. It penetrated my mind. It woke me up this morning. It had me studying this morning. That had me in your word, Father. Lord, such profound questions that come from you that we could just meditate on for weeks. Where are we? What are we doing here? Where did we come from? And where are we going? May those questions not leave anybody today. May we seek our innermost being today, that we can find truth in those answers. That we could get honest with ourselves, with you, Lord, and with somebody else, so that we may be healed and made whole and walk in newness of life. Thank you, God, for what you're going to do here. In Jesus' name, amen.